is Nicole from This Moment is Good, Loom Knitting, and today I wanted to kind of explain to you the differences between the knit stitches. There's been a lot of questions coming my way about why their knitting is so loose. And the first thing I say is more than likely, because they'll say that they're using a large gauge loom and they're using 2 strands of worsted weight, which is what has been used in these samples. Worsted weight yarn, 2 strands held as one. And every single one of these was done using that. But one of the first things you'll be able to tell is the difference between this one and all of these. The stitches are completely different. This is the E-wrap knit. This is one of the knit stitches, but it's not a true knit stitch, meaning it doesn't make stockinette. It makes something called twisted stockinette. It's meshy. It's pretty holey. And this is what people have been asking about. Why is their knitting so holey? Well, I tell them stop using the E-wrap knit because it's a loose stitch by its nature. So that's what's causing it. Also, if you look at the difference, all of these samples were done in on the exact same loom. This one you see back here, 5/8 inch peg spacing, purple nifty knitter, using 12 stitches or 12 pegs, and with 25 rows. Every single one of these samples was done on the same loom with the same number of stitches and the same number of rows. Now look at the difference in the size of the sample you got. This is why gauge matters so much. Same exact stitch numbers, peg numbers, with the same exact rows. Yet this is more than double, probably almost 3 times the actual surface. This is why people get so attached to the E-wrap knit, because it's fast. It's quick, it's fast, easy, but it doesn't look anywhere near as nice as this one. I know a lot of people are going to complain about me saying that. The E-wrap knit looks like one big cast on. It looks basically like the E-wrap knit cast on, but you just continued to keep casting on up and you got a twisted knit stitch, which doesn't create a V, and it just creates this meshy looking fabric, which is good for some applications. It would make a light baby blanket, maybe a meshy bag, that kind of thing. But for most practical purposes, it's really not the go-to stitch. This would probably be, if I were the only one teaching, the last stitch I would teach you to use so you didn't become dependent on it. All right, so that's the difference between the V is created with stockinette. You see the little V's that you see on this, and then there is no V's on the twisted stockinette. They're kind of a V with a step down, I guess. So that is the complete difference between stockinette and twisted stockinette. So what is the difference between the true knit stitches? The knit stitches that create the V. Okay, well, the difference is gauge. This is your unit. This is a sample of, this is your flat knit. It's your tightest, most, it'll have the most tension in it. So therefore your stitches will be smaller. This is your unit. And then the last one is the difference between the unit and the regular knit stitch. Now, if done right, they are fairly close. But the regular knit stitch, or what they call the true knit stitch, they say it looks the most like regular knitting, needle knitting. I can't really see a difference between any of them as far as what they look like. All I can see is the difference in the tension. So for me, it's stockinette. It all looks basically alike, although I will say that the true knit stitch looks the best with Fair Isle or Intarsia because the stitch is so large, it shows more of the pattern. So it's easier to see it. It just, in my opinion, it looks better, and I will tell you to only use this stitch for Intarsia or Fair Isle to get the best look. So a lot of my patterns, if it's not a sweater or something that must be fitted, I will tell you you can interchange these two, the unit and the regular knit stitch or the true knit stitch, whatever people are calling it. You can probably interchange these on a scarf, a hat, novelties, things like that. It's not going to create too big of a difference. But if you use the flat knit stitch and you change it with the regular knit stitch or the unit stitch, you're going to have a problem. It's going to be completely different in size because remember, these were all knit. All three of these were knit using the exact same stitch numbers and rows, but you can see the difference in the size of the V. The V on this is so tiny. These are great. This stitch is great for socks. It's great for anything you want long wear out of. It doesn't have as much stretch. There's no holes between it. You have to really pull it to even see airspace between it. And now these start to get much looser. Much looser. It's much more stretchy. Same with this. This is even stretchier, the true knit stitch. So you keep that in mind as far as which one you would want to use if you're going to do a boot topper. If you have wide calves, I would always go for the regular knit stitch. Make it as wide as you possibly can. And like I said, this is a very durable stitch, but also the pitfalls of the flat knit stitch are that it can really tighten up on you. And people have sometimes had to cut their knitting off because you have to be very careful that it doesn't get too tight. So this I recommend really practicing before you put it on a project. Socks, not so much. The sock yarn doesn't seem to tense up as bad as a number 4 worsted weight yarn will. So I hope that clears it up, what the difference is and how different your sizes will be with the same stitches and rows knit, just changing your stitch. Okay, hopefully that was helpful. Thanks, have a great day.